Hey everyone, hello, hello, hello. It's Emmanuel here, certified body code practitioner, certified group energy facilitator. I'm so excited, honored to be on here, and looking forward to add some value. Um, and for those of you who are brand new to Heal, first of all, I just want to welcome you to this platform. Um, I made this technically for you guys, so I want to give some background why Heal even exists, because you might be wondering why someone invited me on here. Very, very simply, COVID-19 happened. See, I can say COVID here. No one's going to block my video. But COVID-19 happened. And what it was interesting was that a lot of my really good friends who do holistic work, they started getting blocked and they were in Facebook jail for a long time. And I was like, wow, they're providing great value. It stinks that they have to keep reactivating their account. And I realized that free speech wasn't happening for people who are into the holistic lifestyle. So that's why we created HEAL, which stands for Have Empathy and Love, because that's what we need to all have with each other. Even people who are big social media platforms, whoever's the director and the owner and everything, need to have more love and empathy for everyone. And the way we do that is we get information out there that actually helps people. So if you're a naturopathic doctor, if you're an acupuncturist, if you're a Reiki healer, or maybe you're just somebody who loves energy medicine, or maybe you love eating good, healthy food, there's going to be no screening of anybody. Like you can post whatever you want, and hopefully everyone's very respectful of your opinions. But yeah, so that's what this is for. This is not for my wife and I. This platform is for you. If you want to post on here, just like you post on Facebook, share your photos of your family, talk about what you're about to go do. Maybe you're going to do yoga for the first time, whatever. We're here to support you, and we want you to definitely appreciate this platform. So, and here's my son right here. And yeah, so let's just have him on, and let's say hello.
Hello.
And say I
I
love
love.
Heal.
Yeah.
Good job. Anyway, all right. So my son's going back. Okay, that's impromptu stuff right there. See, you gotta be a professional to do that. But anyway, so I'm just glad you guys are on here, and I want to introduce to you guys somebody amazing, because I've always believed that there is this leaning going on, too much leaning, and what I mean by that is that right now I know the world is elevating to new frequencies. I know that this earth is changing. I know that Mother Earth is just getting ready to give birth to this new earth. And really what's happening is that people who are dealing with emotional trauma and things like that, it's like it's all coming in out of the shadows. I've noticed this year people's karma has been changing. Everybody that thinks they can get away with stuff and they can do whatever they want, this year is the year of exposure. People are the evil people, the dark people, people who do not really like humanity, that do trickery and lies. It's almost like the sun is coming to burn them, and they are starting to feel it this year. But it consists of light workers who are going, wow, this is cool, this is cool. And sometimes I feel like there's too much leaning on something. For example, leaning on too much energy healing, but then not like studying the books or the conscious work, or too much self-development and then not enough healing of the subconscious, taking care of the tip of the iceberg, but not the bottom of the iceberg, or too much of the lower iceberg and not enough of the tip. You need to be balanced, 1 foot in 5D, 1 foot in 3D. You can't be all in 5D and all in 3D. It's our bodies were not made for that. So as we transition to this new world, I felt it was super necessary that I reach out to somebody who has the same sort of values that I do, who loves people, that helps people, and is trying to coordinate and coach men to go to the next level. Because if you look in the world around you, and if you're not happy with certain things, I feel, in my opinion, is that men got us there. And if we want the world to change, it's up to the men to reverse what we've done. We've kind of praised the narcissistic man. We've praised the narcissistic man. We've praised the probably the hidden closet psychopath. And now look what we've done. Now look where the world is now. If that man heals his heart, if that man heals his inner child, he might say, "What am I doing? What is this really making me happy?" Like, I really want to add value to this world. I don't want to just rape the world. I want to like help add to the world. A very, very different type of man. And the healed man needs to arise. And so I can't think of anybody better than somebody like Bob, who Bob is just an amazing gentleman. And I can't wait for you guys to hear his story, kind of like how he got into this. So without further ado, I'm going to kind of bring him on here and you guys can meet him. And if any of you guys, go ahead and tell me where you guys are from. I know Marty's here, Sadie's here, Richard. Hey, Lori. If you guys want to just kind of in the comment section, right where you guys are watching in from, would love to give you a shout out. But let me go ahead and add Bob here. And let's all send him some love too. Just like I'm just excited for, again, he's a certified life coach. Him and I are starting a program. You want to write this down. February 29th. February 29th is when we are leaving the dock. And we are going with 100 men to this 90-day transformational program. And we are going to grow. It's something that's like kind of like not really people aren't excited about. It's like grow. What does that consist of? Grow emotionally, physically, spiritually. We are going to grow on so many different levels. And I'm just grateful to have Bob come along with the ride. And we're going to both kind of help men out there. So, hey, Bob, welcome to the live stream.
Hey, Emmanuel. Thanks so much. So good to be here with you.
Yeah, man, it's so great. And if you'd like to maybe just share real quick, your story, your background, what did you go through that you made the decision that you want to be a certified life coach? Like what? And so everyone's kind of curious to know this.
So I guess the long story short, and I'll give you a little bit more of the long version. The long story short is I just at some point in my life when I was late 30s, I just felt like I was just a shell of a man. Like I was so disconnected from my center, and I could start to see how that was like impacting my marriage and my relationship with my kids and my work. And it just felt like I was kind of going through the motions, but just so disconnected, so unfulfilled. I had a decent career going. I was providing, financially for my family and, doing, cleanup after dinner and chores. And, we're doing all the things and the callings in the church and, all the stuff. But man alive, there was just so many times that were just the times of inspiration of feeling like so good and so fulfilled were so fleeting and so few and far, in between, that it just felt, almost kind of dead inside is maybe a good way to describe it. So disconnected between my head and my heart. And so once I started connecting the two and really started leaning into that work and like, oh my gosh, how amazing is this to do? And I want to keep going. And I feel like all this self-discovery, which is, both vulnerable and hard and scary and yucky, and also liberating and amazing and incredible, that kind of led me to the coaching realm, where I was like, man, I would sure love to give back in this way. I'd sure love to help men kind of not have to deal with the decades of problems that I had. If I could help men, do in days what I dealt with for decades, that would be amazing, right? Like, why not squeeze decades into days? And so that's where, all this came about.
Well, that's awesome. And thanks for sharing. And like I said, always, it's kind of funny how, as soon as you receive some type of change in your life, if it's true change, it's kind of hard to contain it and kind of like, this similar to what Jesus said, you can't put a candle under a bushel. You can't hide something that, can actually assist, and I feel it's the same way with my past history. I'll just share with you real quick in 1 minute. In 2015, everything was upside down in my life. I didn't know what my mission was in life. I was just in some random job, fish out of water. My finances were upside down. I was in a relationship where I was being emotionally abused. I didn't spend enough time with my kids. My connection with God was getting way and way less. Everything was just diminishing. And until this book, Emotion Code, came into my life, I was even skeptical of reading it because I had this thing called the heart wall. And the heart wall was like making me feel numb. Even if I found the most exciting news in the world, I would look at it and be like, I don't know if this is what I'm supposed to do. So then I read the book, though, changed my life, and the rest is history. And long story short, within a year, with the healing that I've done, Zip code changed, career changed, success changed, relationship changed, everything changed, you know, and it doesn't take what would have probably taken me 15 years or 10 years to change my life within a year or so. Everything just because I took more time into my inner universe and took care of that inner child that was struggling back there saying, you know, who left me back here? And a lot of men have that. A lot of men, I'm sorry to say this, we don't have the best male role models. And then we're looking for the wrong male role models in society. And so if we can centralize a way that we can show you a map, and then, like, you know, you would be the map, Bob, where you tell people, hey, listen, where are you at with your relationships? You know, where are you at with your finances? Where are you at? It's such a great question to ask. Like, you know, hey, get off the carousel. and as much as you're enjoying it or supposedly enjoying it, get off the carousel, sit down here, and have you ever even thought about who you are, who you actually are? Do you know how a divine human being that you are, even without anything? If I were to strip you of your clothes, strip you of your account, strip you of everything, do you know how divine and special, unique you are? I guarantee if I were to tell a man that, he wouldn't be able to hold his composure for longer than like 10 seconds before he would start laughing because he feels so uncomfortable. And that's a problem. He can't say, I know I'm divine. I know that, you know, that's like probably preliminary. That's foundational before we even begin any journey. Is like, do you know you're the captain of the ship before we leave the dock? Do you know that you're a captain? But the question is, do you know how to be the ideal captain? That's the question. But inside of you is already the captain. But do you know how to really use it? So I know there's a lot of amazing men on here. I'm just looking at here. I know there's Richard and there's Marty. If any of you are interested, I wanted to offer your services. This is what I do. I put Bob on the spot. This is just like so much fun to do. Who doesn't like to put their friend on the spot?
Totally.
But if you want, it'd be awesome if you want to kind of maybe share or talk to someone. Again, volunteers only, so, you know, don't be scared. You're not going to be called out. But if any men would like to volunteer to get on the hot seat just for a quick minute, then go ahead and maybe ask Bob a question down there and say, I feel stuck in this area of my life. Okay. And then, Bob, if you want to choose someone at random that you feel inspired you want to talk to, then let's just do that. But
Yeah,
just to give a little preview.
Who's ever ready if they want to. And I know it's a scary thing to come up, especially in like a group setting. Like, yeah, with men especially. That was actually a big hang up for me for even becoming a life coach. Was I couldn't even fathom opening up in a way where I just like felt like I was airing all of my dirty laundry in a public forum. Like I couldn't even wrap my head around the idea. But when I go through life coach training, that's exactly what you do. You sit in a group of people and you open up and you get coached and you coach, and like everybody's stuff just like comes out. And it took me literally years to get to the point where I could even comprehend the idea of opening up in such a way that I would just let, like, I'm struggling with this and I don't know what to do about this, and this is really bothering me, and just be open and genuine that way. So I get it. I totally get it. But I can also say that if you're willing to come on and to, you know, have a breakthrough tonight, even, you know, I'd love to, you know, help you get there with it.
And you know what? I'm willing to be a rebel too. If a woman is like, hey, you know what? I'm here hanging out with these. Yeah, if you're someone who's brave enough and you're a woman and you're like, hey, you know what? I got some issues here. We all do. Like I said, like none of us is trust me. I know I see clients. This is the crazy part. I feel like I am the insider face. I feel like I have X-ray glasses when I go on Facebook. Let me explain to you what I mean. I have friends or clients that are all over Facebook, and you see what you see, but I know what's really going on in their life. You do not see that on their Facebook. So you think you go on Facebook and you're scrolling and you're like, oh, look at all these people's beautiful lives. I know their life. I know what they're struggling with. You wouldn't want to switch a day with them. You wouldn't. So everyone's going through something. Okay. So I don't want anyone to judge anyone. There's no reason to. We're not going to judge you. You're in a safe zone. right here. Like, see, like I always tell people, picture Bob and I with no face, like we're a cartoon character with no face expression, because we just can't judge. We have no time to judge. So, okay, so Marty is open to transform something. So Marty, go ahead and unless there's someone else who wants to volunteer, Bob, you're in charge now. If you want to choose
Yeah,
Marty, or
Marty.
you want to wait for somebody else?
Yeah, please come on. Let's do some coaching. Let's create some breakthroughs. And the beautiful thing, you guys, when we do coaching with one person, what's amazing about it is that everyone participating, everyone even attending, will get massive value from it, because you're going to see, even if your story is somewhat different from Marty's, you're going to see how some of those common threads are in your life as well. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. So when we're going through the coaching process, everybody within a group can benefit. So it's actually, so group coaching is actually some of the most beneficial things that we can do, just because of how that can work with everybody. But yeah, so Marty,
So good.
can you bring them on? Is it, are we able to bring them on?
Yeah, so good news is we can bring him on. But now we have to ask Marty, is it okay if we bring you on camera? Is that okay? I mean, the guy's a pretty handsome bloke over there. I don't know why he would.
He's
would
just
say
going to
no
add to it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, let's do it. Give me 1 second here. All right, let's see. We're just waiting real quick, and then he's going to jump on here, and then we will be talking to him. And I'll just zip over here, Bob, and you just do your thing.
Sounds great, man. So excited. And by the way, we can coach women too. I actually coached a couple of women just this last weekend. So, hey, Marty.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So good to have you. So if I were to ask you, what would be one area that kind of sticks out in your life right now that would be like, man, it'd be nice to, make a little shift there, or to have a little bit more awareness? What's the one that comes to your top of mind, would you say? Anywhere that
I guess to be more visible, to become visible and accountable as a healer.
Yeah, tell me more.
Well, generally in the energy frequency healing arena, my experience is it's mostly women, and I've had to actually kind of acknowledge and embrace the fact that we all have a masculine and feminine or yin and yang energy, mm-hmm. and to stop denying that, because that's the part of me that is going to be my heart, my intuition, that's going to give me a better connection to the divine.
And so did you say that you're struggling with not being visible enough with that, or is it more of maybe not embracing that aspect of yourself?
Well, even though I'm having realization about it, I'm not. I struggle with being visible, being on camera, speaking. A lot of times, even when I'm doing a session with somebody, I get a lot of stuff going on in my head or my heart, but getting it to come out of my mouth is a struggle.
Do you have a recent example, like where that was happening for you?
It's really like it happens almost all the time. I mean,
and by the way, massive kudos for coming on here live, right? If the struggle is not, being visible and all that, then this is, massive kudos to you. Yeah. So when was the last time that you remember that coming up for you, when you were like going to go live, or you were going to coach a client or something like that? Tell me about that.
Well, I've been threatening myself to go live for a year, and I haven't really done it yet. I mean, I do one-on-one sessions, and that's that's tolerable, doable, but I have a lot of anxiety beforehand. But to show up in front of a group, because I believe that with what I do and what I'm being called to do, that I need to be able to be out there no matter what anybody says about me.
So where's the anxiety coming from?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch all that.
Where's the anxiety coming from? You said you feel a lot of anxiety around that.
I'm probably having so much anxiety, I'm having trouble. I missed the first three words that you said.
Oh, just where is the anxiety coming from, do you think?
Well, I don't know. Can I blame it on my mom and dad?
You can try.
Um,
So when was the last time you were going to go? So is it any time that you, like, was there a time recently where you wanted to go live, but then you decided not to because it felt too, you had too much anxiety about it?
well, I've I've done some things like prepare some scripts and even done a few short like videos or reels or whatever we call them. And then when I would look at what I had done, I was like, that just looks and sounds dumb. It's like, you blink too often, your voice does this, and you pause too long, and it's like I get pretty critical about. It's like I get. I overthink it, and then my ego gets really critical, and then I don't allow what's really going on in my heart to come through. Do I know where the anxiety comes from? I don't.
Well, if you go to that place for just a minute, so yeah, what are you believing, or what are you telling yourself about that, about going live, that's creating the anxiety? What's the message in your head that you're telling yourself, do you think?
I don't even know if it doesn't even feel verbal, really. It's just, it's like that flight, fight, or freeze thing kind of kicks in, and I get tongue tied and get have a loss of words, and I don't even know if I'm answering your question because it's. Even talking about it, I feel a level of anxiety and stress that makes it hard to even listen.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. What would be worst case scenario for you? Let's say you go live and start sharing, what's inside of you. What do you see as kind of worst case scenario there?
I don't know that I've even thought of that far through. I mean, it was like right now what I'm seeing in my head, I'm seeing me at about 4 years old hiding behind the couch listening to my parents fight.
Why do you think you're making the connection between the two, between going live and that one? Why did that come up for you, do you think?
Because at that time, getting a little bit in touch with that feeling. It was it would have been very unsafe. I felt like it would have been really dangerous for me to come out from behind the couch while they were having their huge conflict. And it was like being visible and being in danger seemed to be connected in the wrong way.
So yeah,
I didn't even know that until just now. So
Yeah.
That's helpful for me to have something to work on.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
So
yeah,
what do you think about that, making the connection between the two?
well, I'm seeing this high level of vulnerability
Hmm.
being like a negative program that's associated with being visible.
Mm. Yeah. And can we just create a little bit of space and a little bit of acknowledgement for when you're a little kid and scared and you don't really even have the chance to kind of decipher what's real and what isn't, how that can then become the program that exists. And so can you see how that would be if I'm visible, that equals danger and that I'm unsafe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great revelation to have.
Yeah.
I mean, and well, I'm getting understanding just as I'm sitting here and we're talking about it. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that. I mean, because well, you know, I joined a few minutes late, so I don't even know what modality you work with. Um, but I know with what I'm doing with, emotion code, body code, and belief code, I can see how I associated those two together. And now there's all these um, distorted patterns and imbalances that are all interconnected and woven into that. And
Mhm.
my brain probably isn't even wired correctly now. I have to
Mm.
go in there and do some redecorating and rewiring.
Can you see other places in your life where it may be impacting you as well, like where being visible seems to be unsafe? Is there anything like that, or is it just with this one realm, do you think?
Oh no, that's a theme that goes
Mm.
on and on and on, all the way back. Um,
Can I, so we could do one of two things. We could challenge the idea. So it sounds like that's maybe where your work is. It may be one of two things or both, is challenging the idea that being visible equals unsafe. If we go to the opposite of that for just a minute, let's see if your brain can open up to that for just a minute. In what ways could it be actually really safe to be made visible? Are there any ways in which you could see that it might be safe to be visible?
when Dad's not home.
Mm.
I mean, I'm just saying what came to, off the top of my head. That's what came through. I
Yeah.
mean, that's associated with that negative program or
Totally.
negative belief that's in there.
And I just want you to notice this too. That's a really amazing revelation right there, and it's in and of itself is. So think about this. So that means that the locus of control, meaning like where the only way you can feel safe is if somebody else isn't there. If you're not visible. So only when Dad's not home. So think about that for just a minute. So then it's reliant on something outside of you in order to feel safe, something that you don't have control of.
Yeah, and I mean, thinking back to those that early childhood time, my my father was gone a lot. I mean, for like weeks at a time. He would come home like once a month or something. I don't know the exact time frames, but so when we would when I would get in trouble, Mom was always like, just wait till your dad gets home. Wait till I tell your dad about this. Your dad is going to whoop you. And, it was like, it was. So whenever he came home, I didn't want to be there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I kind of forgot what you asked me. What would, are you, something about what if I looked at the other end of that, what could I do to be safe, to be visible now?
Yeah. So the association that you're coming up with is when dad's home and I'm visible, that means unsafe, meaning I need to not be seen in order to be safe. And so if you notice, if you can see that, then it's like everything it's you're relying on something external from you that you have no power or control over in order to be
Oh,
safe.
okay, I get it.
And so if we can relate that now to going on camera, it's almost like I need something from these people in order to feel safe as well, or like their approval, or they're okay, or not be rejected, or not be whatever in order to feel okay. But then it's looking outside of you in order to have that okayness. Does that resonate with you as well?
Well, it does to a degree. And I don't know why it's coming up with all the, like, trying to talk about what I do in the healing area. But like most of my life, I didn't care what people thought about me.
Mm.
It was like I would say or do, anything, or odd things or strange things, and I didn't care what people said or thought in person. But something about putting myself out there to an audience is, I don't know, some other kind of a big deal, because
Yeah. What's the difference, do you think?
I don't know. And I've worked with ministries and companies and stuff where I'm really good at doing all kinds of behind the scenes work, but if they bring me up to appreciate me in front of an audience or something like that, it's and ask me to say a couple of words, like 2 words is about as much as I can get out.
Mm.
But
Yeah. So
now
what would so if you're, let's say you're getting the recognition, appreciation, whatever it might be, and you're up on stage to give that, what do you think you're making that mean? Is it that it's unsafe to let this out?
well, I mean, the way I'm feeling internally, it's totally unsafe.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see that negative program is doing that without any discernment or logic or reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
So if you'd like to, could we go through a process, like a feeling process, like an emotional process, to kind of help loosen it up a little bit?
sure.
So right now, it seems like logically you can see, like, standing up on stage and delivering, some words is not logically unsafe, right? There's nothing that is going to physically or emotionally harm you. But when we tie it to your past, right, then it makes a lot of sense as to being visible means being unsafe. So I want you to think of going on camera in front of people for just a minute. And I want you to think that how unsafe it is to be visible and on camera in front of these people. Can you do that for just a minute?
Well, yeah. I mean, thinking about it, it doesn't feel unsafe.
So can you go to a place where you feel that sense of anxiety again? Can you find that energetically for you, the anxiety?
Mm.
Like you're just about to go out in front of people, or you're about to speak in front of people, or you're about to coach somebody live. And then the belief is that it's very unsafe.
Right. I mean, now that I've spoken about it, it's kind of like, it's like chasing
Has it loosened up?
yeah.
And
I mean,
so,
all I can think of now is, I mean, I can go back into the past and remember those times when, either hiding from the parents, hiding from my father, or, trying to make a plan for when he was going to come home, of how I could disappear. But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is really good, my friend. This is a really good connection, I think. So I think just knowing that you have that tie between the two and a little bit of why that is, then give yourself some love and some support and some understanding, some empathy when you feel that way, because that little boy still feels that way, right? That little boy that's like, this isn't logical, but I truly felt unsafe in this instance. And now it's being tied to these other instances in my life that's causing me to not show up in the ways I want to. So it's really important to give him a little bit of love, attention, and some time to kind of go through that process each time you feel that. And as you do that, that's going to be the thing that will help to heal that wound. And then like you feel now, it'll open you back up to then pursue what you want to pursue and show up in the way that you want to.
Mhm.
Can you do that?
Yeah, and I'm feeling some of that that energy, for lack of a better word, but I'm feeling that kind of dissipate, and
So good. So good. And everyone, yeah, give them a big hand for volunteering and coming on. Like, if this was your thing to not be visible and then to come on and be coached, like, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So I'm so happy for you.
thank you.
It's a big deal, my friend. Really big deal.
Thank you
Marty
so
for
much.
president. Just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Well,
Would anyone else like some coaching tonight, or do we need to call it for tonight and then get back on Thursday?
I think we might call it for tonight, and I just want to thank Marty for coming on here and volunteering. And I many times while you were talking, I was kind of reading your body language, and how you were kind of your voice started getting calmer. You kind of like your shoulders got tense, but then it got really relaxed after a while. So that's when I know that certain emotions are processing, and that you're starting to realize you're like, where, what I feel like it's very freeing to know where things come from, because it's the unknown of why you feel a certain way that kind of makes things worse, in my opinion. But when you kind of know, like, okay, so well, that's where it comes from, there is something peaceful about that. So I'm grateful for you coming on here, Marty. I appreciate you. I know everyone else appreciates you coming on here too.
So good, my friend.
Thank you.
All right. So thank you, Bob, for doing that. And what I'll do here is that,
Absolutely.
yeah, what I'll do here is so again, that's just like a little preview. Again, you probably, there's so much more deepness we can go into that, but that's the type of care. Like, it's almost like I've noticed that what this world needs is a place to not only receive healing for men, but also just to like be able to give them the space to unwind what's been all wound up. They just don't have that like, am I even safe to talk about this? And like, what if I get, what if I feel embarrassed? Or, it's like, we don't even allow them to feel embarrassed. Like, it's like we live in a very funny world where they're just all wound up from the world, and they don't know how to unwind themselves because no one's giving them the room, with no expectations, with no judgment. And I saw you do that very clearly, Bob. Like, I can feel there's a very tangible feeling of love you have for humankind, that matters, that not just a space, but like a space of like, I really truly care about you. And there's a term for that actually in the they say that, and I don't know if you're familiar with the map of consciousness, like Dr. David Hawkins, talks about the map of consciousness. There's these different levels, and they say that above 540, is kind of where miracles happen. 700 to 1,000 is like the enlightenment, but you don't need to even go there for a miracle to happen. That's why when Jesus came for Jairus's daughter, if you notice, there was the women mourning. They were on the lower spectrum of the map of consciousness, and it was affecting the room that Jesus could do no miracle there. So he like asked them to leave. And then when he left, that's when the miracle happened. He knew that the way people are thinking affects the environment and can affect a miracle, that the miracle can't happen unless pure love came to that room. And they were stopping it from their too much grieving. Also, too, if you notice, and sorry, I'm using scriptures out of nowhere, but also one thing that I noticed is that when Lazarus passed away, he took that time to go, to cry with the Mary who was saying, you should have been here sooner. You let him die. You're Jesus. What are you thinking? And he spent the time. Sometimes you need to mourn with someone, and then once someone's mourned out, like they've released every tear, then now how do you feel? I feel elevated, more light. Okay, now let's resurrect somebody from the dead. So it's just interesting how Jesus was a great teacher. He was the Messiah, everything like that, but he was also a great environment maker. He was very good at seeing what everyone was doing, and you're good at that, Bob. I'm just trying to give you some compliments here. I think you're very good at reading people where they're at, knowing when to talk, knowing when to hear, knowing when to live in that space, and that's not easy. That's really not easy. We're usually waiting for us to talk to respond. We're not really listening to people anymore.
Yeah. I know. Can I do a quick shout out to Lori? Yeah, thank you for being here. And the work that we're doing in this group and in this community is for men and women alike, but we focused on men for our specific program that we want to do, just because we want to have that be kind of our focus. But as far as coaching and healing and all that, we want everyone to come and participate in all of these free sessions. So we'd love to have everybody come and do that. I was actually attended a conference this last weekend on hypnotherapy. And during the breaks, I was able to coach several women, and they said, so when are you going to get a women's group going too, or whatever? And I'm like, well, maybe we will, but we want to lift the men right now, but we want to lift everybody in this platform. So that's part of our charge. So we just want to be here to serve and to create breakthroughs and to help you guys just get feeling good and aligned and energetically where you want to be. That's what we want to do more than anything, just because I know how much it's helped me in my life and how much better I feel, and that's what I want to give back. So,
and I also think too, I was going to share that by helping out the men, we indirectly help the women
100%.
too, because so I've noticed that like if I could have asked for anything for my birthday when I was a child, is I would have asked for a healed father. And I think if I had a healed father, the divorce wouldn't have happened, the abuse wouldn't have happened, I would have had more direction in my life. I wouldn't have to go to military school. And there's just so many, if I kind of added up, if a real, true healed man was there, life could change. And if you're a wife and you're watching this, if you have a healed man, 5 years of an unhealed man and 5 years of a healed man, very, very different environment, And the thing is that men, similar to the way children are to moms, affect us more than we know. I know that I work with women all the time, and they're within a second, if they know any of their kids are suffering, they drop their session, not for them. They go, hey, don't worry about me, worry about my kid. But it's the same thing though. It's we it's hard for us to say the biggest pain in my life is a man in my life. It's either my father or my husband or my son who's this way to me. And this man thinks that the problem is me. That this is the big conundrum in this world, is that the men think there's nothing wrong with them, that they're like, I'm fine, I'm doing good, you're the problem, And that's just not the case. They're allowed to say you're the problem as long as they're facing a mirror. That's totally fine. But other than that, they don't want to take full accountability of the programming they don't know about. And so that's something I wanted to share with you guys. So thank you guys so much for being on here, Bob. You're amazing life coach, of course. We've only seen the scratch of 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 the scratch.
More to come.
So I'm just grateful to see you in your workings, and I'm excited to happen. If you got some value from this, know a couple things. February 29th, we officially launch our 90-day program. So if anyone wants to write that down, in fact, maybe I'll even write it down here. February 29th, we are undocking. We are leaving. The boat is sailing, and we are taking men on a 90-day journey. And also, too, just watch this as kind of a cool little. I wonder if I can share the referrals if anyone's interested. If you know someone if you know someone that's like, I know my cousin would really appreciate this, or my uncle needs some healing, or my husband needs this healing, bring them to this community here, and then we'll do all the work. We'll talk to them. We'll open some heart up. Maybe they'll watch. You never know. They'll watch someone that we're working with, and that guy will be like, man, I have the same issue. I mean, I could have taken that call, and that changes his life to move forward. And let's say your guy that joins the program, you make actually a $250 bonus as a gift to say thank you for bringing him to us, and this is our way of saying thank you to you. So not only did you blessing someone's life, we just took care of like 6 expensive dinners for you, And so anyway, is there anything else you want to share, Bob?
No, just really excited and grateful to be with you guys all tonight so much.
Awesome. So everyone have a great day. And again, we will be back on Thursday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So put that alarm on your phone. If I were you, I'd go on this phone, and that we're going live. I would go Monday and Thursday, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We're going to keep jumping on and just seeing what value we can provide, and we would love to help you out. And by the way, too, if you want to reach out to Bob and you just want to talk to him, he's on Heal right now. Just go. You can follow him. If you go on his profile, you can click follow, which means you'll see his posts more. You can message him on here. Definitely get to know us. Message us. Reach out to us. We're here for you. All right, guys. Everyone have a blessed day. God bless.